Hi, hello, and welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous, aka Ablossi Baba. I'm recording this all purpose Saturday. I was sent here to do so. We're a little bit on retro protocols right now and transition. Great offering coming out. There are some changes. Wow. Okay, so we're just going to call this the Reset Realignment, Soul Purpose Saturday edition. Oh. Falls to the floor, comes to the door. Death card in reverse. Interesting. Last card out is the cherry. The message is for me, it's Chamba, the river goddess, also known as Oshun, Venus. And the findings here are we have squirrels somewhere close by, like on the roof and stuff. If you can hear it, I'm gonna get a better mic. We moved. The temple is now in the attic instead of the basement. I'm gonna continue. Okay, so soul purpose Saturday, your soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny. If it's a realignment, it would be about designing your life. It would be about becoming who you're always meant to be, getting your life together, getting yourself together. This is about having these recollections, consciousness come to us sometimes via crisis. It can be a new turmoil, can be a new trauma, can be a new rattling in terms of the awakening, the enlightenment. Now, that is always present in the situation, but typically when you're in a situation, not outside, when you're on the inside looking out, not the outside looking in, it tends to be traumatic. Now, it would always be from the scope of a dissolution, a breakdown, an upheaval. At the very least, if it's awakening, things as you thought they were will be different when you recollect. It can be a rapture, an awakening, okay? Now, I have the record open here. It is 22 cards. It can be 11 by 11, but for me, it's actually 9 by 13, if you would. And again, like I said, it's about a new crisis, a new turmoil that starts out in the area of our self-governance and self-mastery. Now, the sign I have here is the end of quarrels, but it would be you ending the quarrel with yourself. Okay, so you've realized how you were your biggest abuser, how you were your biggest traumatizer, how you were your biggest obstacle, your biggest trouble. Whatever it is, the change to make, the cut to make in order to be most abundant, it's something alive in you. Or you may need to step into the role of cutting out bad cancer. Cancer is something that has growth. It's taken on a life of its own, yet it's malignant. It's destructive. It could even be, in some aspect, demonic. And then if you're feeding it, you are the demon overlord. It would be the end of the thing that you're doing that is destroying you, or at least destabilizing you. It would be in the way you manage your life, govern your life. It might be in your self-mastery, your maturity, your self-governance, your ability to remain in autonomy, franchise, and control over yourself, over your franchise, basically your system structures, foundations, the way you not just set up your life, but you show up and participate in your life, maybe even the way you're expected to govern your life, perhaps duties, obligations, responsibilities. Okay, so where have there been breakdowns, upheavals, dissolutions, conflict, quarrels, troubles in respect to your system structures, foundations, your autonomy, franchise of control, your self-mastery, your self-governance? It can be that there's then the end to some mastery, the end to some duty, obligation, the end to some right, role, responsibility. It can be that there's been a shift to a male in your life, whether it's a father, a boss, a man, significant other, divine masculine in your life. Maybe something that you owned or were in control of has shifted, changed, maybe it's even slipped through your fingers. I feel like whatever growth is coming is because that was a bit of a shock, or that was a bit of a rough landing, traumatic transition. And it's almost as if time is sometimes in your hands, out of your hands. If you're participating, showing up, being present, showing up to the growth that's always required, and it's going to be significant and consistent. You know, every single day you're going to have to show up and become bigger, brighter, and better in order to even maintain balance, alignment. Now you are growing into bigger, brighter, and better. There is some type of grand, higher judgment and resolution. However, in the myopic aspect, looking at the trees specifically instead of the forest per se, it would be like exhaustive, because there's always a crisis to put out. So again, it starts in that self-governance, self-mastery, the franchise, autonomy, control here, system structures, foundations. It's going to grow into some type of transition in respect to roles, duties, obligations, autonomy, franchise, and control. There's a transition there. Something that needs to be released is how we go on to struggle, combat. Again, this message is going to be in respect to our autonomy, franchise, and control, our self-worth and value. How we negotiate, navigate that. Okay. Basically, what's going to open up the doors, the strength, courage, and wisdom. If we were always destined to have self-worth, self-value, self-compassion. Okay, that's where our strength, courage, and wisdom comes from. And if we can value that, there's a destined growth, transition, almost like turn of events in our soul group. The falling out of love that we've been having was appropriate. The slipping through our fingers was appropriate. The people, places, and things harming us, wounding us, traumatizing us, and lifting us up, saving us, that was all some divine design. Now, of course, free will is there, but so is free will is there, but so is predestination. Okay, so there's this spiritual alignment as well. It's almost as if heavenly beings, angelic beings are, okay, I'm here negotiating on our behalf, petitioning on our behalf, and acting on our behalf. So we'll see results here in the physical to the regard, in respect, in the matter that we work in the spiritual. Okay, so as we're receiving results in the physical, it's in direct proportion to results that are in the physical. Actually, spiritual. Actually, 1/4 of the results that show up in the physical will actually be because there's 3/4 other part in the spiritual already manifested. I mean, in essence, the divine feminine is coming back into power here in the physical realm. That's already been the aspect in the spiritual realm. It was a retreat to the spiritual so that the physical could be a little bit of an Alice in Wonderland. People could go on a little bit of a journey, have a little bit of a hallucination, if you will. a dream within a dream, if you would, get lost in accordance with their free will. So those who were lost in their free will were deeply in illusion, and those who were finding themselves in their free will that were previously deep in illusion, it was because they were called to serve the universal love vibration and the oneness. Okay? Those who are still out of alignment are having a bit of a rough landing because it's quickening, speeding up. This revelation, this awakening, this rapture of the divine feminine, and snatching the patriarchy off the throne, tossing them in a volcano somewhere, and fixing her crown. She's coming out of isolation, coming out of seclusion in the spiritual realm back into the physical. Okay, so the divine feminine is when your spiritual wealth, which is typically your divine truth, which is typically your ability to stand in alignment with your integrity, which typically manifests in the third dimension as your self-worth and value. Okay, so, and then you have that Saraswati, that's one type of wealth, Lakshmi. And then we have that Durga, which is the strength, courage, and wisdom. Okay, so that faith, hope, and optimism, that's Lakshmi and Saraswati, and it's switching. There's a polar shift. Okay, because right now, at this most precise present moment, Saraswati looks like self-worth and value. Knowing who you are, knowing what's alive in you, knowing why you're here, knowing what you want out of life and what you're willing to trade to get it, not sacrificing the eternity of your soul for the momentary right now, whether it's a physical or emotional security that's temporary. You let that man in your bed, he's gone tomorrow, you don't see him again. It's not something lasting, eternal. You spend this dollar on whatever, or you do this to get this dollar, you give this part of yourself to get this dollar right now, you don't see it tomorrow. Whatever you buy with this dollar, it's gone in a minute, it's gone in a day, it's gone in a week. Right now, that's Saraswati. And we're always chasing Lakshmi. So Lakshmi, it shifts. The polar shift is when your self-worth and value is as strong as your dharma, as your righteousness, as your divine truth, as your divinity. Then your hope, faith, and optimism becomes your Saraswati. And your self-worth and value becomes your Lakshmi. What I mean by this is most people don't even know the truth of who they are and why they're here. So their celestial endowment is spending time chasing money. They're spending and wasting $1 million talents earning $15, $20, $25, $30, $45, $50 an hour. They're spending their time working somebody else's business, making somebody else rich, dividing themselves from the eternity of their soul, stuck in the matrix, stuck in the Maya, stuck in the illusion, polarized, fragmented, Black against white, Republican against Democrat, conservative versus liberal, right? American versus European, North versus South, East versus West, split. Out of alignment with the universal love vibration and the oneness. So when your self-worth and value is resonant and in alignment with your strength, courage, and wisdom, there's dharma, there's righteousness, there's sattvic truth. Then your strength, courage, and wisdom, that's your Durga. Your self-worth and value that becomes your Lakshmi, but not before you step into alignment. Because before you step into alignment, your self-worth and value is your Saraswati, it's what teaches you how to leverage your power, which will be your strength, courage, and wisdom. And see, people are out of alignment with this. They don't know how to nurse themselves, Anaparna. They don't know how to be devoted to themselves, Shakti. They don't know the truth of who they are and why they're here. They do not know themselves, Saraswati. So strength, courage, and wisdom does not exist because they do not stand for anything, so they fall for everything. If you do not stand for something, you will fall for everything. Durga. So the change to make in order to be most abundant is to release how you stand in the way of your abundance. When the universe tries to bless you, you need to open up and receive. And sometimes the blessing requires you to grow. Say you get a new job, you have to be up at a different time, you need to travel a different distance, you can have a different schedule. There are sacrifices to make even when you get blessed. There are sacrifices to make even when you receive blessings. So the soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny is to remain in the place where you're free, where you're going towards, where your soul is asking you to grow. When your soul is calling growth, you're going towards new, fresh, something that you haven't done before, because growth, creation, really, truly, genuinely exists outside your comfort zone or exists outside the point of knowing. Now, recognition is different than knowing, and those who are the baby intuitives, you still get it twisted. So when you're outside of your knowing, and remember, knowing and recognition are very, very similar. That's where this growth is, and that's where this birth is. And there's going to be a lot of release of the old. Be careful not to block your blessings because too many structures are being dissolved, diminished, dismantled. As long as you're not being utterly destroyed, there's nothing to worry about because everything that's happening is in alignment with the universe. It's actually to bring you further into alignment. And we've lost a lot of time, those of us who have been in the way to awakening. We've lost a lot of time. So we have an opportunity here. And what I'm telling you to do is just pull up your britches, lacing up your boots, strap yourself in. Yes, perhaps a bumpy ride, whatever. It will stretch you all the same, is what I'm trying to say. It's been an honor and pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. Listen, the Mystery School is going to be opening up soon. I will be making an announcement about that. And we're going to have open enrollment until the 29th. And then if you are not auditing, there will not be any type of discount. Okay? So within the next 72 hours, you can expect an announcement about that. It's been such a tremendous transition the last 6 to 8 weeks. Of course, we're catching up on the schedule, and I would like to talk about how you can become a part of the temple community, whether you're a Vodoun, a Tarsino, a Hunsi, a Huno, a Mambo, a Bokono, a priestess, a high priest, a cleric, an archivist, a historian, a protectorate officer, an elder, a chieftain. If anything I said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and check the resources in the show notes. Again, my name is Ablossi Baba, also known as Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I can be reached at oracle@priestessgorgeous.org. It was an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege and the pleasure to do so. I'm going to just quickly clarify So the sermon is actually about high ground. You know, if somebody's trying to take you down, it means they're already beneath you. And honestly, like I was telling you, if you do not stand for something, you will fall for anything. A lot of times the devil just wants to get you distracted on your virtue because he works on you from the outside and he starts with what you can see, how your brain could lie to you. Typically, we're conditioned and programmed to verify things before we trust them. Trust does not come from the mind, it comes from the heart. You don't need to understand when you're in danger. Something tells you you're in danger, and oftentimes you ain't even in the position to question it. Right? There are parts of you that are sovereign, serene, and sacred. They don't need to sit there and be conditioned and programmed by the mind. That's a mechanism that's been taken away in terms of your autonomy by how we've been conditioned and programmed. And this whole type of new age dialogue, whatever it is, new age is not always negative. It does also mean where the growth edge is, where the razor cutting bleeding edge is, where you have to break away even so slightly from the dogma, the condition, the program, the status quo, whatever the open, progressive aspect would be. That's the new age. The part that ushers in the growth for the next generation. So that whole dialogue is about taking back that condition and program part of the mind, because whatever you're thinking is however you're manifesting your reality. Your thoughts affect your actions affect your results reinforce your thinking. If you want to change the way you feel, change the way you think. If you can't change your thoughts, you need to change your belief systems. And if your belief systems obstruct, you need to look at your programming. And so this is the whole formula here. If you want to see how far the rabbit hole really goes, if you're the one who takes the red pill, okay, then you have to open up your eyes and you have to realize you may have never used them before. It's not always going to be conscious. It's not always going to be pleasant, and not always going to be familiar. So you will be given something to confront, and if you don't have virtues, if you don't have values, if you don't have self, truth, soul's wisdom, it's always going to be some type of combat. Scary. Okay, and if you're stuck in illusion, you're simply going to be washed out. So I would advise you to see how the all that is, the universe, the collective even, engages with you. And if you don't know what your needs are, ask yourself what you're wanting, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. That will help you begin to design your needs. Now, also, I would adversely look at it, periods of what I won't deal with, what I can't deal with, what I hope to deal with less. That'll also help you formulate what your needs are. When you know what your needs are, you can then begin working on your strength, courage, and wisdom. Showing up with your needs known is your self-worth and value. Some people have needs and they're unwilling to negotiate for their needs because they lack self-worth and value. When you have self-worth and value, you know what your needs are. And when you know or have the ability to negotiate them, that's your strength, courage, and wisdom. Some people won't ask for that raise, but they know that they need it or they want it. Faith, hope, and optimism is the strength to show up expecting those needs met and being willing to deal with the consequences if they're not met, how to navigate out of that. That's faith, hope, and optimism, knowing that you will be guided into the promised land when you are in alignment with yourself. If somebody's trying to take you down, it means they're already beneath you. And the only thing that can take you down when you're in alignment with yourself is your ego. The part of you that wants to separate, that wants to denigrate, that wants to desecrate all that is sovereign, all that is sacred, all that is serene in your life. Do not allow it. You stand true within yourself, within your integrity. You walk your dharmic path, your soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny. That is who you are authentically in the heavens, your sacred self. That's who you are and why you're here. That's your soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny. You use your gifts, your talents to make this world a bigger, brighter, better place. When you're on your throne and somebody's trying to take you down, it means they are already beneath you. Do you understand me? It's been an honor and pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. Again, as I said, if anything I said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and abreast yourself of the resources in the show notes. My name again is Serene Priestess Gorgeous, also known as Ablossi Baba. I am an Indigenous West African practitioner of West African Vodoun, the Mami Dan, the Mami Wata, the Rada tradition. Okay, I'm a Saturn priestess, and it was an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Namaste, Dandavat, and Ashe. There is a flash sale going on until the 29th. The information is in the show notes. Until we meet again, until we read again, Dandavat, Namaste, Sayonara, Auf Wiedersehen. Swish it.